How is it going, YouTube? Malagant here. Today we'll be talking about something different actually, which is going to be the milestones of an account, some sort of like a progression fashion, what you should be like looking forward to, especially for the new players, especially for new accounts or the first character that you have. So I'll be like giving some sort of like a list, and I'll also talk about like how important they are in my honest opinion, and also how to get to them with the fastest way. I really hope that you're going to be enjoying it. Now, the first thing that I'll mention is going to be hands down the experience potion in this game. It is, in my opinion, one of the most impactful thing to reach to, especially as a first character in an account. You're literally gaining 100% less experience if you look about it that way. Now, how to get to this is basically you need to be revered with a faction called Mammoth Resistance. Mammoth Resistance is in fact a lost faction, lost friendly faction that you meet in the Ashes of Mammoth expansion. And you will need to get to revered with them. Should you be farming Revered in normal difficulty? That's kind of up to you. If you think that, like, if you're in hardcore difficulty and if you think that you might die in Elite, if you think that the game is getting hard or it was already hard for you, then I would definitely farm it in normal. There's no shame at all. But one thing to mention is that, like, don't forget about the writs. And the writs are not only for Mammoth Resistance, but for every single friendly faction out there in every single quartermaster. You'll be able to get to, like, Honored, which is this milestone right over here, this tick. When you're Honored, you will be able to, go to the quartermaster and buy the writs, which will boost the reputation gain to that corresponding faction by 50%. That way you will be farming towards the Revered much faster. And no matter if you decide to like farm it in normal or in elite, I would definitely suggest you to check out this table, the bounty table. That is probably the better way to like farm the Mammoth reputation. If you're completing every single quest out there, and if you're a completionist when it comes to like the map and stuff, you will usually get to like Mammoth Resistance Revered status at the very end of elite. If you didn't get there, it will be very close to it. So you won't necessarily need to like farm all that much either, to be honest with you. Now, the next in line after the experience potion is going to be the mandates. Now, the mandates, just like the experience potion, are usually for your alt characters. It's not necessarily for the main. Well, mandates definitely not. Since you can only buy them when you're revered. So what does the mandate do is that, like, basically it's capable of being, it's not necessarily tradable, but you can actually like put this into your shared stash tab, and that's where you will open a new character at level 1. You don't even necessarily need to meet the faction yet. You can just like use them all. If you're familiar with my leveling videos, you will often see that like I use not only the experience potions, but at the very start of the leveling video I use bunch of mandates as well, so that like my reputation gain with those factions are at the maximum rate. So this is going to be the second most important milestone, in my opinion, for a new character to reach, getting all the mandates and then storing them in the stash, so that the next characters that are going to be coming up are going to be having a lot easier time. To be honest with you, both the experience potion and the mandate kind of makes the leveling part of this game a lot more fun, at the very least for me. Not because it's like a childish, okay, it is so much faster. I honestly think that like there's a lot of, especially when it comes to like the reputation, there's a lot of things that you don't necessarily need to go back anymore. I can actually like give you a lot of examples for this. There's like the Revered Legacy quest in the old Arcovia, which you need Honored with them to be able to take that quest. If you have the mandate, you will actually be able to take it almost right away, which is extremely good. Same goes for a quest that is in the Fourth Icon with the Black Legion. Same goes for a lot of quests actually that are chaining in between in Commons Refuge, and there's some quests in the Steel Cap district as well. Those are the ones that are like coming from the back of my mind immediately, and those are the quests that I'm saying that if you're running a character from the start with mandates up, you won't necessarily need to farm any reputation at all, and all the quests are going to be available to you. So it is at the better speed. That is also why I enjoy using them. This is also why it is going to be the second in line. Now, the third thing that I'm going to be talking about, that is the most important part, is that the gear hoarding. this is not necessarily a milestone, it is much more of a talk about like a progression wise. I have been receiving a lot of questions when it comes to which item do you hoard? Like what do you hoard in your character? Now it all comes down to the progression of the character of the account. So what I mean by that is that like when does it become difficult to you? Where are you at with your characters? Are you at level 40 with your maximum level? Then you should be probably hoarding the level 50, level 40 items that you think that they are good. Are you already way past level 40? Are you up about level 100 already? Are you capable of, you know, finding the level 100, well, level 94 and level 84 legendaries and epics, and maybe even the MIs? Are you capable of farming them easily? And in that case, just never mind anything else, just hoard the maximum levels. So that is what I usually do. There is a really small... there's a really small exception to this. There's no bank here. I thought there was a bank there. And that small exception is that while I'm leveling, I do actually like end up using some items. Some of them are a little bit better than the others, especially something like the Ancestral Ward over here. You can see that like it's for level 65. It's an incredibly strong necklace. Same can be said for like an Avatar of Mercy for level 58. At level 58, rocking something like this is incredibly important so that like you're fixing your like stun, freeze durations, or resistances if you would like to call it. You're getting like maximal resistances on. Also for a hardcore character, you're also receiving a really nice proc that will save you from death every now and then. Same can be said for Badge of Mastery. In this case, it says it is requiring level 75, but if I'm not mistaken, a Badge of Mastery is in fact level 58 as well. It requires level 75 in this case because I put a component on it apparently. We can check it out from my blacksmith really quickly. Let's see where my Badge of Mastery craft is. There it is. Yeah, it's just a level 58 as well that you guys. So this is yet another item that you can keep for a leveling up character. So back to the original point. What level of items, what items to keep. Look at the item. If the item looks extremely valuable for any character out there as the leveling process goes, then you should probably keep that item. If you think that you would use that, like, let's say, boots on every single character that you're leveling, you should probably keep it. Otherwise, if you're easily way past that level with every single character that you create, I wouldn't necessarily like worry about it. I wouldn't keep it at all. This milestone is going to be linking with my next point, which is the gear farm at the end. This is going to be the third progression that I'll talk about. So where do you farm? Now there's a lot of things that you can do in this game to like basically farm gear. One thing that is like really unknown in this game is that not really like talked about so much, and I don't necessarily see it being mentioned either. Actually, in Grim Dawn, as long as you don't necessarily close the session, so you don't exit to the main menu, the game remembers the legendary drops, and it does not drop a duplicate. So if we end up finding Runegund Greaves from one boss, as long as I don't exit the game, or exit to the main menu, I continue playing the same session. Runegund Greaves, like, that's what they're called, right? The Runegund Greaves are not going to be dropping again. The game will remember that it dropped. It will try to roll it one more time, even if it's, you know, even if it was going to drop a Runegund Greaves, it will drop something else because it will reroll. Simply because of this, remember that like you should try and keep your session up as long as your character is capable of farming, you know, whatever is left to farm. So that said, what are the valuable targets? You could do Warden, you could do Cromney, you could do lots of elites. Maybe in the Twin Falls, you could kill the maybe Darkvale Gate last boss, and there's going to be some elites over there. Meanwhile, while doing this, you could also spread this farm in such a fashion that you're also farming some Infamy. So what Infamy is, if you're not necessarily familiar with how we talked about like the, you know, friendly factions and their reputation, there's also the reputation, well, basically minus reputation for enemy factions as well, which is called the Infamy. And when you reach to the maximum, they become nemesis. And if not all, most of them are basically spawning their nemesis when you are nemesis with them. And that is a milestone to get to as well, which is actually going to be the last point that I was talking about. But so you could unite this one session, farm everything, and at the same time pay attention to all the nemesis factions and spread your farm in such a fashion that you will be gaining progressively nemesis or like infamy reputation with all the enemy factions out there. Obviously not every character is not necessarily strong enough to efficiently or like effectively kill every single nemesis out there. Definitely not, because you know, some characters are definitely being hit harder in the melee range, and some nemesis is capable of charging at you, for instance, or maybe other nemesis will be able to hit really heavy vitality damage, while some of the characters are capable of tanking that, while the others are going to be getting obliterated by it. It's completely normal. So basically, whichever character you're playing, whichever nemesis is the easier one for you to farm, you should probably be going for that one, priority wise, let's say. That's going to be it from me for this one. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be catching you next time. Peace out.